Dan Perry, who has spent close to a decade covering the Israeli-Palestinian conflict for the Associated Press, joining us live. Dan, thanks for being here once again. That Rafah border crossing, it's the only way out. I mean, there is no other alternative. Do we know anything about who is being allowed out of Gaza?
The idea is to allow foreigners out, but that requires some kind of agreement between the three parties, Egypt, Israel, and Hamas. And right now, it's not at all clear exactly how that can be achieved. But I have to think in coming hours, they will implement what appeared to be a deal ready to go into action today at 9 a.m. local, which would be to let foreigners only move into Egypt. Part of the sensitivity, the complication at least here, is that Egypt is hugely sensitive to people coming out of Gaza, and they're going to be into Egypt, and they're going to be very careful to ensure that it's only foreigners, which raises a whole separate humanitarian issue about whether Egypt owes anything at all to the Gazans.
So is there a question as to whether or not Israel or the U.S. had anything to do with negotiating that opening of the border crossing? I mean, Egypt was relatively quiet up until now.
Yeah, look, we see Blinken running all over the region. I have to think, indeed, I think I know that that the U.S. is involved, and the U.S. obviously wants to get U.S. citizens and really every other foreigner out of Gaza. So again, feverish negotiations, very much back channels. I am assessing that it will work out, but I don't have knowledge, of course.
Obviously, we're still awaiting for any other intel. Hopefully we hear from Secretary Blinken a little bit later on this hour. So Israel's been criticized quite a bit around the world for cutting off water, electricity, internet from Gaza. But paint a picture for us of what Palestinian life has been like. They've been living under the tyranny of Hamas. The energy would cut out frequently, water quality extremely low, housing poor quality. What was the plight of these people now with what seems to be an additional humanitarian crisis on top of what they've already been going through?
Life in Gaza is very difficult for most people to begin with. They're impoverished. Half of them are descendants or more, descendants from refugees from the 1948 war. They live in not so good conditions, to say the least. Since 2007, they have been under the boot of a fundamentalist Islamist theocracy that every couple of years provokes Israel into wars that involve bombardment upon that population. There's a separate question about whether Israel, to the degree that we would like, takes steps to prevent civilian casualties. To a significant extent, they do. The fact is that Hamas locates its logistics, its comms, its control, even launchers amid civilian neighborhoods in civilian buildings for the express purpose of getting them killed because they see some PR value in that. It is a misery for the locals, and they really are not in a position to criticize their own government because, to say perhaps the obvious, it is a police state that does not brook opposition. So I can only hope and pray that this ends quickly and that their misery is put to an end. And honestly, even though the current fighting for sure involves, as you suggest, yet more misery for the people of Gaza, I do observe that Israel is at least trying to think out of the box and to do something new. And that is what we see in the request for about 1 million people to leave their homes. That itself is, very extreme, but the obvious purpose is to prevent them from getting killed during what is likely to be street-to-street, door-to-door fighting in Gaza. And if Israel succeeds in removing Hamas from power in the West Bank, different from eradicating Hamas, that may not be possible. It's an idea as much as an organization. But if it is removed from power in Gaza, honestly, that is maybe first and foremost a service to the 2 million Palestinians in Gaza whose lives have been very much upended for almost 2 decades by Hamas power there.
Isn't it true that the Palestinian leadership in the West Bank is directly opposed to Hamas in Gaza?
Yeah, they're political rivals, if nothing else. But they're also ideological rivals because the much more moderate Palestinian Authority, under the much more moderate Fatah and PLO factions, believes in a partition of the Holy Land and an accommodation with Israel and with the Jewish Zionist project of having a state for the Jews in at least part of historical Palestine. Hamas does not believe in that. Hamas believes in this, in an end of days war to the finish against the Jews and domination not only over the Jews, but also over the infidel Muslims and Christians They want a theocracy. They're part of this global fundamentalist movement that includes other terrorist groups, from the Taliban to the Hezbollah to others whose tentacles all lead, of course, to the Ayatollah regime in Iran. It is a very great challenge for global civilization, and it is a tremendous tragedy when these organizations succeed in essentially taking hostage entire operations, as we've seen with Islamic State in cities like Raqqa and Mosul in Syria and Iraq.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.